Alright, it's been a while since I've done one of these videos, so today I'm going to show you my collection of small PCs or micro PCs, and I've been interested in these for a long time, just to use for special applications, not as general purpose PCs, but all of these have been bought for a specific purpose. I find that these are all underpowered to be used as a server or as a general PC to use for your office applications and day-to-day tasks, even though some of these have been sold that way. So I'm going to start with the oldest one first and go from there. So this one I bought I think in 2007 or 2008, which makes it 8 or 9 years ago, if my math is right. So this is an AMD Geode processor, small form factor PC. Back. And this was sold as a Kulu PC. The company went out of business not too long after I bought these, but I think the OEM is this Ion. I can't even read it, but hopefully you can read that. Anyway, these were sold with I think some form of Linux intention, or you could install XP. It didn't include the license for it, but it came with 4 USB ports, and well, it says USB 2, which is pretty good, and little speaker here, microphone jack, headphone jack. Back here is speaker jack, VGA output, and Ethernet port. Now, I don't think this was a gigabit. It was 10/100 probably, but it had an AMD processor, and for the time it was all right. It heated up actually quite a bit. There was no fan inside here, so it was quiet, but it would heat up if you ran something that would use the processor a lot. So that was one of the bad things about this PC. The other is that you had to put a notebook-sized hard drive for storage in here. You could probably put something like an SSD card these days with some sort of adapter, but I don't know if you want to go through the trouble of trying to use something like this. Even though AMD, I think, still manufactures the processor that comes in this. I think it's in AMD Geode either 800 or some variant. I'll check the specs later on this, but I think AMD still sells these to device manufacturers, so these are still popular. Not in this form factor, but I guess for other industrial purposes. So this is maybe I'll open up in another video so you can see what's inside. But there's an IDE hard drive inside here, so that's what's being used for storage. It was okay. The intended purpose for this was to create some kind of VoIP application server to create applications to put in a doctor's and dentist's office, but that didn't turn out well for a number of reasons. Mainly because the internet came along and hosted services, and all that basically made things like this and Nortel PBXs go away eventually. So it was a good idea at the time, but eventually the internet came along, so not much use for this anymore. This is my Lenovo Idea Center. So I bought this to use as a media server to stream movies and shows and all kinds of stuff. So this is something, you know, your Apple TV does, and other small boxes do these days. So the reason for going for something like this instead of an Apple TV, it was because I wanted some more power and more versatility to what I could install on this. But this ended up actually being very noisy. it has an Atom processor in here, and let's see, you can see all that here. So it came with Windows 7, and everything just felt slow on this. HDMI out here as well as VGA. So spec-wise, it didn't look bad, but performance-wise, it was just awful. And the keyboard that came with this, it was like an oversized BlackBerry type of keyboard device, which really wasn't all that great. Anyway, so I gave up on this. I just got back to using my Apple TV. I only use it for Netflix and maybe some iTunes. iTunes, I guess that's what it's called. But to watch movies. So I'm still trying to find a purpose for this, but it's powerful enough to install some form of Linux on it, but I don't know what to actually use it for. The other bad thing about this is that it didn't come with any kind of mounting options. So this looks like, just sits somewhere, which is a bad idea because you don't want something small just sitting somewhere. Stuff like this, easily in an open area can get stolen if you just have it hanging. I mean, this is the kind of stuff, if you want to mount it behind a TV, it should have some form of mounting screw or bracket, and this doesn't have any of it, unless, there's some other kit that slides this in, but generally there's some form of mounting kit. So that's it for that. This is the one of my most recent purchases, which I plan to use as a router. I've been testing the 2-port version of this. have it in a couple of clients, and they've been running for almost a year without any real problems. So I think at this point I feel safe actually using these as routers in small offices. So the cost of this is anywhere, depending on the storage and CPU processor that comes with it, anywhere from 150 and up. These could get pricey if you get the top end processors and lots of storage. But these feel pretty solid. They're all passive. There's no fans inside. Gigabit Intel Ethernet ports there, and you also have the option of hooking it to a monitor. Normally, if you're going to use something like this as a router, you'd connect through a serial port if you want to see the status of it, or log in through SSH. But it's nice to have a monitor port so you can easily hook it up to a VGA monitor and snap in a keyboard, and you don't have to look for any console cables. So this is the Q-Odom. I think it has I'm not sure what the processor is, but I'll put up the specs later. Very nice. I've been impressed with this, so I'll be using this for my routers, and I think I will phase it in for clients that are anywhere from 10 to 20 users. So this should, spec-wise, that should be good enough. And my last device, this is a PC Engine's router hardware. There's no HDMI or VGA output on this. It's all just a console cable like I was talking about. These also do not come with any kind of mounting kits. You basically have to, if you were to mount them to a wall or anything, you're going to have to mount them to using zip ties or some other form of mounting kit. But the only thing I don't like about these also have AMD processors. I think this is the T40, not quite sure, but it's a fast enough processor, and it has 4 gigs of RAM, which is plenty of memory for what I plan to use these for, which is routers basically. But these have been very reliable, except the only thing that if you're going to purchase these, if they come with the generic mSATA SSDs, try and replace them with something else because those fail often. And if you're going to use the SD cards, those also not so reliable, but better than the crappy M-SATA ones that come with it. So this has an SD card, and it was running for over a year, and just a few bad power failures basically corrupted the contents of the SD card. So I'm going to have to re-image it and put it out there. But otherwise, these things have been working fine. The bad thing about these is they use the Realtek chipset for the Ethernet ports, and those aren't so great. I see more errors with these when I'm checking the logs than the Intel versions that come on these. So these will run longer without any errors, and these eventually you will see some kind of network errors or errors because of not being able to complete some network operation. But it's rare, but it does happen more often.